On this episode of China Uncensored, religion is the answer. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Reuters is reporting that according to multiple sources, Chinese leader Xi Jinping is saying China is losing its moral compass, officially making him the last to know. Since 2008, about 78 officials a day have been convicted of corruption, according to China's Supreme Court. Oh yeah, and a woman did just gouge out her 6-year-old nephew's eye for some unknown reason. But she has a solution. Tolerate religions. Yes, no more beatings and late-night invitations to tea, maybe. According to these sources, Xi Jinping thinks the moral vacuum can be filled by traditional faiths. What a novel idea! I mean, religious freedom is only guaranteed in China's own constitution, along with freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and freedom of assembly. And we all know how well that's going. But Xi, head of the officially atheist Communist Party, seems to think that if people become more spiritual, they won't pursue self-interest no matter what the cost, and then they'll be more manageable. Of course, anytime top party officials give an official direction, it usually just ends up making everyone really confused. I mean, what does Xi Jinping mean by tolerating traditional religions? China's traditional religions or faiths are Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. So, first of all, what does that mean for all those house Christians that refuse to worship at state-sanctioned churches? What about Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang? If Xi Jinping wants to promote Buddhism, is he trying to say that he'll let the Dalai Lama back in and give Tibetans the autonomy they've longed for? I doubt it. Confucianism was also heavily suppressed during the Cultural Revolution, probably because it encourages officials to criticize corrupt leaders, and there's still a lot of resistance to this ancient moral code. In 2011, a 31-foot-tall, 17-ton bronze statue of Confucius was placed right around the corner of the portrait of Mao Zedong in Tiananmen Square. Then one night it just kind of disappeared with no explanation. Some people celebrated the disappearance. I saw in a Times article that on one hardline Maoist website someone wrote, "The witch doctor who has been poisoning people for thousands of years with his slave master spiritual narcotic has finally been kicked out of Tiananmen Square." However, Beijing Normal University professor Guo Qijia offered a different opinion. He said, "Students come home from school and tell their parents, 'One of my classmates got run over by a car today. Now I have one less person to compete against.' We have lost our humanity, our kindness, and our spirit. Confucianism is our only hope for becoming a great nation." But let's not get crazy here, people. Having people treat each other with a shred of compassion and dignity is all well and good, but economic development is still the #1 priority, according to these sources. Moral development is still only #2. You know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, unless you stand to gain financially from their losses. China estimates it has 50 million practitioners of Buddhism and Taoism, 23 million Protestants, 21 million Muslims, and 5.5 million Catholics. There were also 100 million Falun Gong practitioners, according to the government as well, but I somehow don't think Xi was talking about them. In 1999, former Chinese leader Jiang Zemin labeled Falun Gong a cult, despite the fact that 100 million other people didn't seem to think so. And since Reuters sources say the party will remain vigilant against cults and feudal superstitions, I don't imagine the party will be letting up on them. Clearly a threat to social stability. I'm just glad that though religions will be tolerated, they're still able to arbitrarily persecute any group if they just say it's a cult or superstitious. That can be such a nice umbrella catch-all label. Now, if you'll excuse me, I just need to rub my lucky teapot 3 times. And now I know this episode will be a success. So does Xi Jinping really want the Chinese public to embrace traditional faiths? I mean, in June, a senior official still maintained that party members should not be practicing any religion. And Xi himself has been reviving Mao Zedong-era campaigns like self-criticism sessions to try and make party officials less corrupt. It just makes perfect sense to cling to the man responsible for destroying China's traditional culture while saying that the morals he destroyed are needed to fill a gap that's been left behind. This, to me, looks more like Xi Jinping is clutching at straws. He knows that corruption is eating away at the party's credibility and hold on power, and the public is fed up. But there's no way the party can fix itself, so maybe it can patch together a solution. Borrow something from Mao, take something from Confucius, add some Sichuan peppercorns, and hope the public will put up with it for another 60 years. But really, there's only one belief that the party wants the people to hold. The belief that the Communist Party has the absolute right to rule China, and that Tibet has always been a part of China, and Taiwan, and Japan. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Leave your favorite superstitious practices in the comment section below so I can report you to the proper authorities. And as always, be sure to check out China Uncensored's Facebook and Twitter page. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.